Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the next installment of DEFCON Aftermath. We're looking at defenders and controllers, trying to figure out which of these classic archetypes is better at supporting a team. And to that point, we are going to be running several of them in the 801 trials, incarnate level challenges. And today's episode is going to be taking a look at the MIDS build for my controller, who is using storm summoning, and his name is Scouring Sands. Let's take a look at the MIDS build. Bingo, here we go. So we've got fire control as our primary. We got storm summoning. I keep tongue twisting, scorching, and scourging, and surging, and storming. This is going to be a real mess today. I can kind of feel it coming. But anyway, where are these stupid pop-ups? They're driving me crazy as well. Let's turn that off. So here we go. We got fire control. We got storm summoning. I did not take hot feet in fire control. Big reason here is endurance. I'm going to be running out of it as it is. And the other big reason is I don't intend on being in melee that often that I'm going to make a lot of use of it. So why bother taking it? Same reason for not taking Thunderclap because, it's a low magnitude stun. I've already got an entire control set, so it's really not going to do much for me there. And I have to get into melee to do it, and I don't want to get to melee that often, aside from maybe popping cinders, and that's more of an emergency power. O2 boost, I talked about this a bit in the setup video for this whole storm summoning. Not a huge fan of this either as a heal or a buff. I don't really see the need for it. Yeah, it can top off somebody's health after a fight, but it's really not a good mid-battle healing power. Preemptively, it does have some buffing, some mez protection, but, I don't know. I feel like I could do a lot more work simply using my controls and my other storm powers than relying upon trying to run around healing somebody. Storm Summoning is one of those sets that if you're taking it to be a healer, you're doing it wrong. It's sort of a fluff power. If you can grab it, sure, you can use it. It would be useful with this build, to be honest, because I could at least heal up my imps a little bit, which are going to take some damage. But I think at the level I'm going to be fighting, these imps are going to get obliterated to the point where O2 boost is not going to matter too much. But this is something to be aware of, especially if you're a teammate of mine, because you're not going to get any heals out of this guy at all. Zero. So, don't get hurt. And part of my job is to make sure that does happen, that they don't get hurt by keeping things under control with the combination of fire and storm. I think overall, though, that this build is really, and you can kind of see by my slotting, just looking at the colors, this is a pretty high damage combination. I mean, Storm Summoning already is probably up there in the top 2 or 3 secondaries as far as damage goes for controllers, just with all the pseudo pets and freeze and rain and things. You can get a lot of extra damage out of this set. You combine that with Fire Control, which is arguably, the most or one of the most damaging sets, just because a lot of your secondary effects are just these damage over time ticks of extra, damage. So I think between the two things and the way I've got it slotted, this guy is really, the way I've conceived of him is to be a heavy outgoing damager, and to be more offensive control minded rather than trying to sit back and buff people. That's just not going to happen. So if we take a look at what I did take, I've got the standard complement of control slash attacks, ring of fire, char fire cages. So you got your 2 single target immobilize, hold, and then your AoE immobilized fire cages. So those are your main 3 attacks that you're going to see me spamming a lot. I did take smoke. I do like the ranged minus to hit, the minus perception. That minus to hit's going to, stack a little bit with hurricane, which also has some minus to hit. Flash fire is really your big bread and butter control power. Maybe bonfire, depending on what you're trying to do. But this is your ranged AOE stun. So we'll take a look at the numbers on this a little bit. Cinders, PB, AOE hold. I don't mind this power, especially if you do run hot feet. Makes sense to kind of get in tight with hot feet, pop cinders, and just start cooking things. I'm not going to use it that much, I don't think, on this build. Although on these 801s I might, just because things would probably be in my face a bit. But with Hurricane pushing things back, I probably won't be using Cinders that often. At least I shouldn't. And if I am using a lot, then that means everything else is probably failing at that point. Bonfire is your other bread and butter control with this set. You're gonna see I've got it slotted up with some knockback to knockdown with a not stupefy set, but a sudden acceleration set. So bonfire, flash fire, those are my two main controls. Fire cages would be secondary to those. Everything else is just gonna be some single target stuff for a little bit of debuff. And then the fire imps are gonna be running amok, doing whatever the fire imps do. But I think the real money is going to be over here on the storm side because Gale is going to help fill in some of this control and some additional debuff that's going to help boost the damage output of all these fire attacks. Gale, cone knockback, that could be a nice opener or at least a third option behind flash fire and bonfire. It's sort of a mid, combat control as well. You can knock down a bunch of stuff with it. Gale, I'm also slotting that with some sudden acceleration. You can see I have the knockback to knockdown there. Snowstorm, nice AoE control in the sense that it's a toggle slow, minus recharge. So if I have people slowed and they can't really do much or move very fast, they're going to be more prone to sit there with freezing rain hitting them, fire cages immobilizing them, stuck on a bonfire while fire imps are just going to town on them. Steamy Mist, there's your self-protection, of course. Freezing Rain, we're going to drop that patch, get some damage, get some debuff out of it. I got some damage procs going with it. Hurricane's probably your primary defense, really, on this character. Steamy Mist is okay as far as resistance defense goes, but Hurricane's going to be the thing that keeps you out of trouble, at least from melee stuff. Range things, if they're beyond the radius of this thing, they're going to be unaffected by it. So, of course, you're going to draw a lot of hate using this power. So if I can get some good position with this guy, tucked around a corner, that sort of thing, where I can buffet people with the outer edge of the Hurricane to get the debuff, yet not stand wide open to get blasted, this is going to pay off for me. Tornado and Lightning Storm, there's a couple summonable pseudo pets. Tornado's gonna, throw out some debuff, throw out some damage, just wreak some havoc. I've got that with another sudden acceleration with the knockback knockdown set in it. And then Lightning Storm's gonna be your extra, pretty much an extra attacker. It's kind of like a little blaster light, just unleashing lightning bolts at people within range. It has a pretty short recharge. I got mine down to like 40 some seconds, so it's going to be up most of the time, unleashing damage, unleashing some knockback, some minus endurance. And then beyond that, sorcery set, I took most of that. Couple of attacks, couple of buffs in here. And then I went with the ancillary power pool. I went and grabbed energy mastery, and we're going to see what's up with that. I took the entire complement of energy mastery, actually, so we'll take a look as to why we're doing all that. So let's go ahead and dig into some of these sets that I'm doing, as well as some of the numbers off of City of Data. So I'll turn the pop-ups back on here. All right, so chart. Got that double slotted with the Will of the Controller Superior version. That's given a 4% damage boost. You'll see that I split that set once, twice here in fire cages, and a third time over here in flash fire. Flash fire, I have it slotted as an attack and not as a control. But I've got that Will of the Controller set split 3 times to give me a total of 12% damage boost. Because really, I think damage is what this guy's going to attempt to do. Control first, and then damage, with all the attacks and all the debuffs and all the storm stuff. I'm just going to try to unload, try to knock the foes down and out before they can retaliate. That's really his game. Then I've got Char slotted with a couple of the Thunder Strikes to get the recovery boost, because endurance is definitely going to be an issue with this guy. With the summonables, the patches, the toggles I'm running, he's going to have endurance issues. Gale, I slotted that with sudden acceleration, like I said. Another 2.5% damage buff with the force slotting there, plus some max endurance. It's going to help me with my endurance issues, and movement speed is always nice because I am going to be flying around. I have Mystic Flight as my travel and just my in combat maneuverability slotting. So I've got that. I have the sudden acceleration once. I've got it twice here in Tornado, and a third time I've got it over here in Bonfire. So I've got it 3 times. So that's going to give me another 7.5% damage, and I believe in each of the uses I do have the knockback to knockdown. Yeah, I do. So getting some damage, getting some knockback, sorry, knockdown, and I'm getting the other buffs: movement speed, max endurance. Tornado's the only one that I want with 5 slotting. Got some extra hit points there because who couldn't use extra hit points? Then I got Ring of Fires similarly slotted like Char, couple of the Thunder Strikes in there, and then I've got 2 of the Overpowering Presences, the other controller ATO. That's going to boost my control numbers by 8%. I split that set with Fire Cages over here. I've got the same thing, so I'm getting another 8% control boosting with that because, I am a bit underslotted on the control side of things, so I get 8% here, 8% here, and I did it again over here in Cinders, so I've split that ATO 3 times. I've got 24% boosting to all my control effects, so that's, almost equivalent to what, SO level, kind of close. I think SOs are 33%. So not too shabby. It's like having an extra SO of control slotted in all my control powers and allowing me to spend a little more slotting on the damage side of things. Then Fire Cages is rounded out with an Annihilation, Actam, Endurance, just to kind of get that power maxed out with accuracy and endurance at least. Not doing a ton of damage with this one, but even though I only have 26.5%, remember I'm getting all that extra damage from my slotting, like the 4% times 3 and the 2.5% times 3 with the sudden acceleration. So I've got damage coming in from the way I have my set bonuses. Snowstorm, I've got that slotted with a couple tempered readiness, again some recovery, and I threw in the pacing of the turtle chance for minus recharge. Now maybe that seems a little crazy because Snowstorm already has the minus recharge, but let's take a look at the numbers a little bit more carefully because I think, defensively speaking, mitigation wise, I don't have really good defenses or resistances. So I'm going to have to rely upon controls. And one way you can get some easy control is some minus speed, minus recharge, because if they can't move very well, can't attack very quickly, it's going to mitigate a lot of your damage. So if we take a look at Snowstorm, I've got the proc in there, like I said, and I think, let's turn that. Yeah, so the proc gives me a 20% chance for the boost there. The debuff is the raw numbers on this ability, so 62.5. So between these two, if the recharge procs, which is gonna, and this 62.5, right, that's 82.5% recharge debuffing. That's, gonna floor a lot of the enemy's abilities to engage with me. Not to mention Freezing Rain. If I jump over to there, Freezing Rain also has some minus recharge 50% here. So 50% with that one. Snowstorm's got 65 and 20, 85. So 132.5% minus recharge with just those couple of powers firing. And by the way, I threw another Pacing the Turtle chance for recharge debuff in Freezing Rain as well. So that's going to give me another chance for another 20% chance for debuffing on that power. So between those guys, I'm close to 150% recharge debuffing, which is not something that, Fire Control's known for, but I'm using Storm Summoning to fill in some of my gaps, because if I can keep things slowed down, pinned down, then I can leverage the extra damage that Fire Control will bring to the table. All right, then we got Smoke. Got it single slotted with a dampened spirit to hit buff, recharge, endurance. So triple slotted that. I think I have this thing +5 as well. So I'm just hitting all 3 of those bonuses there. So I can kind of just spam this thing as needed. And the numbers on it for debuffing are 5.8%. That's not too shabby. I mean, I kind of equate that to having another 5% defense, because if they can't hit me as well, then it's kind of like having extra defense. So little something something. That's also going to stack with hurricanes minus to hit. So if I go ahead and take a look at that number, the minus to hit on that is 40% with hurricane. So 40 there, 5 something here. So we're at 45, 46% to hit debuff to anybody that I've thrown smoke on and hurricane. And the duration on smoke is 60 seconds, it says. So I think for 60 seconds, yeah, for 60 seconds, they're gonna have the to hit debuff. So between that and hurricane, I've got some decent to hit debuffery. If I can get a little bit of defense from my build, a little bit of damage resistance, it's going to give me some mitigation. And the other thing you're noticing on hurricane is I have yet another minus recharge proc. This one is Dark Watcher's Despair. So not only will I be debuffing the to hit and the range of people with hurricane, I'll also debuff their recharge. And the recharge debuff with this guy is 25%. So if you start adding that all up, 25 here, I got a 20 on this one, a 20 on this one. That's what, 65% chance to proc debuff. Plus this is 50% with the freezing rains. That's 110, 120 at this point. And then snowstorm, right? That's got the other 80%. It was 60%. So I'm looking at 180, percent debuffing of recharge alone. So that I think is really, really going to help me survive. As long as I can keep that stuff on my targets, I shouldn't have to worry too much beyond that alpha strike, because they're not going to have a chance for their, hopefully their powers recharge before I destroy them. Then moving into Steamy Mist is our next power. This is giving me my, my primary defense, primary damage resistance. It's only 375 defense overall, so it's not that great. But it's gonna, add up with to hit the buff I've got to give me a little extra protection. I did slot it though for damage resistance with the Aegis set. Movement speed, I'm getting some fire defense, cold defense, AoE defense, and some damage resistance to smash lethal with that power. And then flash fire, already mentioned, I have a dual slot with the will of the controllers in here. And then I threw the Ragnarok set in there with the chance to knock down. So I'm getting a little extra control out of this thing. So I'm getting the stun, and I'm going to get the knockback or knockdown from it. And I do have other knockdown, right? Because I've got hurricane pushing, knocking things down. I got tornado knocking things down. Bonfires knocking things down. Freezing rains knocking things down. I went with energy torrent knocking stuff down, and power blast knocking stuff down. So I've got a lot of knockback here, knockdown, and lots of different powers. I have Gale, forgot to mention that one. Knockdown, knockback. So between the knockdowns, the knockbacks, the minus recharge, the minus speed, and my native controls, and the minus to hit the buff, this guy should be relatively safe. He's just going to have to work at it. It's an active mitigation system. And maybe this harkens back to my Dominator roots, because when City of Villains came out, I was like all in on Dominators and played them lots. And you have to be an active, engager if you're playing a Dominator. Then I dipped into sorcery, like I mentioned. I've got the Arcane Bolt here, Superior Winter's Bite slotted there 4 times. And check it out, I've got another chance for minus speed, minus recharge with this one. So if we take a look, I got another debuff 20% chance here. So now if you add that up with all the other stuff, I got a good 200% recharge debuff chance with all this crap that I'm throwing around. And this is giving me some fire cold resistance, some resistance to speed debuffs and recovery again. Freezing rain, I've got ice, mistral's torment in there. I've got that 4 slotted, and that's gonna give me some extra damage. Of course, the slow one, this one's pretty crazy. What do we got? 30% resistance. I think that's their damage resistance debuff. Defense resistance is 30%. I think, according to MIDS, though, I think this is only 24%, so I'm not sure exactly. Let me shut that off for a second, see if that makes any sense, if that moves anything. Debuff, let's see, 25% recharge debuff on it. 50%, why does it have another one? I don't know, it's got extra crap in it for some reason. Not sure why, but is what it is. Anyway, it's got debuffing. According to MIDS, it was 24% defense, 30%, I think, damage resistance. Then the minus speed, minus recharge debuffs are in here. So this kind of looks like it's got defense as 30 for some reason. I didn't slot it for defense debuffing, so that's why I'm sort of questioning it. I do have the damage proc Ice Mistral, and I do have that recharge proc in it. But anyway, it's going to debuff the crap out of stuff from what I can see here. I'm just not sure exactly how they've organized this one. I thought that would be defense debuffing, damage resistance debuffing, but these aren't the numbers that you see on Cydia data. That's why I'm questioning them. Let me show you the pop-out window so you can see it better what I'm talking about. So I think that's defense. I think that's damage resistance. Then we got the movement speed debuffs. And then you got the recharge proc debuff. And then this one is sure that 25%. That's no, that I think that's the native debuff recharge 25%. Okay. Now it's starting to make sense, I hope. But then it's got this recharge debuff down here is 50. That's the part I'm like, what's up with that? So I don't know if maybe the initial bang has a high debuff of recharge, and then this could be like the patch that's ticking the damage. That could be where that extra recharge, why there's two different numbers, possibly. All right, next up is Cinders. I already had splits with Overpowering Presence, and then I did put Entomb in there. A couple of those, that's going to give me some more fire and cold damage resistance. It's going to help the overall numbers to essentially be capped at all the important stuff: accuracy, endurance, recharge, and not confuse, but hold on that. So it's capped out with just 4. Then we got Hurricane with the Dark Watchers in it. Hit points, recovery, recharge boosting. I wasn't chasing recharge on this guy. Mostly recovery and damage with some control boosting as best I can do. Bonfire already got sudden acceleration in there. Mystic Flight got the soaring endurance and fly speed. I believe that I have that level 50 plus 5 to max that out as best I can. Let me make sure I've got relative levels set to plus 5. Now, not all of my stuff is going to be 50 plus 5. A lot of the times I'm gonna attune. Like if I have 2 or more typically in a set, I'll attune it just so I can get that level 50 boost and these, maximum numbers at any level I play. Where if you go the 50 plus 5s and not attuned, you'll start to get some diminishing percentages as you level down for, let's say, a task force or something. All right, imps. I got these guys slotted as survivable as I can make them. So I've got the Sovereign Right 4 slotted there with the pets resistance bonus on it. So that one is going to add a 10% damage resistance to them. And then Expedient Reinforcement, I got the resist bonus aura as well for that one. So hopefully these imps have a little bit better survivability than normal. But, who knows how much that's going to matter given what I'm dealing with here. I think they only have native resistance to fire damage, so that's kind of their problem. But between the 20% I'm getting here with those 2 resistance, proc things plus Steamy Mist, maybe they'll have a little bit more survivability than getting just absolutely owned. I think the problem is going to be AoE incoming damage is just going to freaking obliterate them, is my guess. But we'll find out. Tornado, 5 slotted. Only thing I'm getting extra there is the hit point boost from sudden acceleration. Then Lightning Storm, I got this 5 slotted with a Thunder Strike, recovery. Then I got defense, accuracy, movement speed. Again, movement speed's important. I gotta be mobility is gonna be another way to stay safe. In Flame, I grabbed this as a little perk. Solo, I can throw it on one of my monkeys there and get some extra damage. Plus, I put the bombardment chance for fire damage in it, which I think will proc with this one. Not 100% sure if that's true or not, but I'm going to find out if it is. I think it should work. At least according to MIDS, it does proc, so not a huge amount of damage. Let me do the pop-out window. So if we throw it in flame out there, it looks like, you know, you're procking 6. So I don't know if that's it only procs on the first tick. If so, that's going to suck, but, you know, again, we'll find out what happens. That might be something I ditch, but I do have it 3 slotted with bombardment, range boosting, and some more damage resistance from that set. Rune of Protection, I got this from Sorcery. This is going to give me resistance to all types of damage, plus MIDS Protection, which I'm going to need. And I took the Steadfast Knockback Protection as well as the unique resistance and global defense boost. Power Blast, another Thunder Strike in here. Recovery, defense, some accuracy. Conserve power, I got these 50 plus 5, so I have maximum endurance on this. Similar to what you saw with my Defender Despina, endurance is definitely going to be an issue with this guy, so being able to have conserve power popping as frequently as I can is going to be important. I've got it down to half of the time, so about 300 seconds on the recharge. Duration's 90, so a minute and a half. So I'm still going to have a good chunky 200 and whatever 10-second downtime. So it's not the best scenario, but it's going to help me a little bit. Then Energy Torrent, got the cone attack. I've thrown in Annihilation here with the chance for resistance debuff. Get a little bit more stacking going with that, and Freezing Rain. The way I've got it slotted is going to cap the damage and cap the accuracy on it. Endurance on the, let's see if I can get this thing to show up top here. And let me scoot this so you guys can see the actual set bonuses. 1 second. Let me scoot that up this way. Getting down to those incarnates anyway. So here we go. We got Annihilation is giving me endurance, resistance to energy negative, regeneration, and an endurance discount, which is probably the most important thing I wanted out of it. Then I got temporary invulnerability from energy mastery, unbreakable guard in there with the max HP boost, another endurance discount, some more damage resistance, energy neg, and then some defense, melee, lethal, smash and lethal on that. And then power boost. Love me some power boost. Defender, controller, whatever, dominator, give me some power boost. It's going to boost all my specials. So controls, especially with this guy, are going to be really helped by that. That again is jacked up on some recharge as best I can get it. Down to 60 seconds on the recharge. Duration's 15 seconds. So, you know, it's got some downtime. I didn't chase recharge on this build. Then our last things to look at as far as the main powers go. Health, I've got that double slotted. Panacea in there. Numina's in there. This is going to be some more, you know, mitigation ability, hit point endurance unique there. The regen recovery unique on that one. Stamina, performance shifter, dual slot. It gives me some more movement speed, and I've got the chance for endurance proccing. And this level 50, I believe, is going to be plus 5 to max out as much of that as I can get. All right, so that is the core build. And if we take a look at our total numbers, you can see it's not super pretty, right? We've got, you know, single digits for defense across the board. And the only thing that's really decent here, right? I got 50-50 with smash lethal, you know, 40% there with the fire cold. So for some of the main damage types, I'm doing okay here, but clearly not going to, you know, live for long. But I do have other things that are going to come into play. So, for instance, Rune of Protection, when I fire this up, you know, my Smash Lethal's capping, Fire Coal is near to cap. So it's about a 22.5% boost to resistance, I think, overall. So that's going to be very useful for me. What's my recharge in Rune of Protection? Recharge is 180 seconds and the duration 60. So I've got, you know, it's a 1/3 up, 2/3 down. So that'll be useful. you're going to have to really do a lot of management of these clicks, the power boost, the conserve power, the rune of protection, because each are doing a unique thing, and I don't have any of them on auto fire, so it's, managing when to click which one when is going to be something to watch for. And what else we got going on here? So totals, what's another one we want to take a look at? Our recovery numbers versus our drain. It's always something I pay attention to. I got a 3-1 recovery, a 1-1-3 drain. So that's close to 2-1, but a little bit too close because as soon as I turn on my other toggles, my attacking type of toggles like Snowstorm, now I'm up to 145. I throw on Hurricane. I'm up to 178. If I've got Inflame running, actually, Inflame was already clicked. 178 on that one. So right here, now I'm more than, less than 2-1. I'm going to be hemorrhaging blue, and I don't have, any way to do anything about it. But conserve power. If I click that, that's definitely going to make a big difference. That's why you see me taking that. The problem is it's not up that often that I'm going to be able to rely upon it. But that's why I've got it. Another power you see here that's going to make a difference is power boost, because this should boost my defenses overall. So you can see if I click this, I'm getting, a few percent boost. So that's going to help me along with my rune of protection, that combination. So based on these numbers, you can kind of see where my weaknesses are and where I'm going to want to focus incarnates. I'm not super heavily slotted for controls. I don't have a ton of defense or damage resistance. I have endurance issues, so if I can resolve some or all of those with incarnates, then I'm going to be a happy camper. So let's go ahead and take a look at what incarnates I ended up slotting with this guy and see what this does for me. Let me turn off that thing. I'm not even sure what special set bonuses mean. Anyway, let's see what we got here. So, I went on the alpha, I went with cardiac, because cardiacs give me endurance reduction, so that's going to help with my endurance issues, and it's going to give me damage resistance, which is going to help with survivability. Let me turn off rune of protection. So this is my raw situation. Let me turn off hurricane. Let me turn off snowstorm and everything. You can see turn off power boost. So here is just sort of my static situation. Let me turn off inflame as well. All right, so here I am, and my numbers are looking like this. If I just am standing around with just basic stuff on, not too shabby. Once I start engaging in combat, though, that's when the problem is gonna manifest. So with cardiac, right, I can drop that endurance drain down even lower, and you can see my smash lethal numbers are coming up a little bit. So is my fire cold resistance, so a little bit more respectable once I've got that slotted. And I've also got the range boost, which is going to help with my control ability to reach out and touch you, that sort of thing, and tag you with some of my attack powers. Then I went with gravitic on the interface side, and you can see why, because it's given me more of that mitigation strategy I was talking about. Minus recharge, minus movement. I don't really need the minus recovery. I do have a little bit of end drain from my storm attacks, but that's not the real reason to take it, right? It's the other two things. Let me just double check if going with gravitic radial would be smarter to do it that way. Let's move over to that side. Where the hell is gravitic? I always have a hard time finding this damn thing on here. There we go. Pop this out. Click over on the interface. Here it is. Gravitic core is recharge, movement, and recovery. So the first two things I definitely want. If I go radial, it's recharge, special, and recovery. So you get recovery either way. I don't really see the minus special being that useful. Maybe in the 801s it's much more useful. I haven't really tested it, but they definitely have some special abilities. But I wanted the movement speed and I want the recharge debuff. So that's going to help me stack a bunch of that debilitating, slowing, minus recharging, etc. to keep everything pinned and locked down in one location if possible. So that's what I've got going with that power. Okay, then we've got support core on the hybrid side. More damage, accuracy, some defense, and some special. So let's see what that's going to do for me. Go ahead and click that. See, yeah, my defense numbers are definitely looking much better with that. So boom, 20%. Not too shabby. That's going to be active a whole ton. Especially once you get it to like tier 4 level. And then the special, that's going to boost a whole bunch of my controls, which obviously is going to help me. So if we take a look at, I don't know, something like Cinders might be a good place to take a look at the effect of the special boosting. So we take a look, the time of those is going up. Really not much considering that, hey, it's like a, a tier 4 incarnate. You're definitely going to get more boosting from your power boosts. So you can see between the two of them, I can get, a mag 3 hold for close to a minute, 50 seconds or so. So that's pretty strong. I'm just surprised that the special on the controls is not a little bit stronger. Flash fire might be another power to take a look at with the boosting here. So the raw numbers on this, we've got about a 21-second stun. You throw on your hybrid, you're getting a second or two, not a big whoop, but you're definitely going to get some boosting with power boost. So I'm liking that overall. Another thing I'm seeing here, why is that true? That doesn't seem to be right. So it says flash fire has a slow. I don't think so. I mean, from what? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, there's no slow in it that I'm aware of. Oh, you know what that's from? That's your interface? Let me double check. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. So interface, check that out. Interface is procking a 30% slow on that. That's pretty nice. I didn't think it was that sizable. So boom, 30% slow, and the recovery's 10%. Not too shabby with gravitic. So between gravitic and my other slows and minus recharges and things, I mean, forget it. Things aren't going to be moving really at all. Let me see what that's doing for this power. Yeah, I mean, the numbers on this are kind of nuts. So with the amount of slow you're able to just chuck around out there. Lots and lots of debuffery from freezing rain. Too many to even count. So anyway, gravitic core, it's going to help across the board. Support core, it's going to help with accuracy, defense, and damage. So I'm getting more damage now, right? So let's take a look at some of the damage numbers. For instance, with Char, I've got it, not even like super well slotted for damage. It's only slotted 53% damage. But I'm getting, some double damage out of it with the other damage sources I've got. And if I actually pull open the, what is it, advanced totals, I think has this, miscellaneous buffs. Yeah, I think this is it here. If I pull this window open, you should be able to see it. There it is. So damage numbers, 31.5%. I'm getting extra damage with this character, and like, what is that, 12 of that's coming from 12.5 of that's coming from here. This should be higher because I'm pretty sure I've got more than 9, well, maybe, so I got about 19, almost 20% global damage boosting from my slotting, and then support core is going to kick that up to 31%. So, I've got pretty much an SO's level of damage boosting in all these attacks. So even though I'm not fully slotted for damage, like Char's only got 50 some percent damage on it. Let me close this out of the way. Get that window out of the way. So if you look here, Char is only got a 53% boost for damage, but I'm getting 30 whatever more percent from all of the set bonuses as well as the support core damage. And then don't forget, I'm also going to get containment damage out of it. So you're gonna get your damage ultimately with this guy. So I am slotted across the board for extra damage here and there. So not too bad when it all adds up for Scouring Sands here. All right, let's close out this build. Pyronic is my judgment, more fire damage. I went with the, what is it, radial side of things, so I'm going to get the chance to stun with this power, because I like to get the extra mez if I can. So I got a mag force stun coming off of this thing, almost 30 seconds, so that'll stack nicely with my flash fire ability. If I was going for a more stun build, bring in the thunderclap, throw in the flash fire, do the pyronic. You could stack enough stuns, but uh, you know, that would be a whole different way to play this guy. I'd be much more melee focused, I think, if I were to do that. And then what else we got? We got Clarion, which I don't technically need because I have Rune of Protection, but Rune of Protection is on like a 3-minute timer or whatever, so it's not perfect. But Clarion's definitely going to help this guy with the Mez protection, as well as the plus special, as well as the plus range. So it's very similar to what you're getting from your other stuff like Power Boost, and you're getting the support core with special. So I click this thing. You can see again my defense numbers are starting to jump up even higher. 50% across the board between Clarion, Power Boost. If I have Conserve Power, that's going to bring my end drain down to 0.29. So pretty much unlimited endurance at that point. Rune Protection, you fire that up. All right, now you can see my resistance numbers are pretty strong, capping, smash, lethal, fire and cold are pretty darn close to capping. So I've got lots of ways to boost myself. It's just a matter of clicking things at the right time. Now let's throw on the rest of my toggles just to see if Snowstorm's running, Hurricane's running, and Flame is running. Let's see what else. Anything else toggle-wise? No, I think that's it. So even with all my stuff running, 0.65. Let's turn off conserve power to see if it's bad. So if conserve power is not in the equation, it's what, 2.5 to 1, which isn't terrible. Just got to be cautious that you just don't spam everything like fire cages 10 times in a row, because fire cages, let's see, what is the endurance cost on this one? It's not too bad. I got it down to 6.5. The baseline is 15. That's why I want to double check it. So overall, I think this guy is going to be in decent shape. Let's see, Tornado's endurance cost is 11. That's, a little bit pricey. Lightning, where's Lightning Storm? Lightning Storm is costing 11. So, going to cost me some if I start spamming that crap. Freezing Rain is 6. So if you throw out a Lightning Storm, Tornado, Freezing Rain combo, that's a quarter to a third of your endurance right there, real quick. And then you start hitting some attacks. You're going to run out of juice if you're not careful. So he can't turn into just an attack spammer. And I think that's one of the challenges with these 801s is you do have to spam your stuff pretty heavy in order just to chip away enough damage, unless you have some way to lower the target's max hit points or their damage resistance. If you don't, you're just going to spam away. And I think we ended up seeing that in the last 801 run, where I don't think we had the DPS with my defender squad to really tear through that mission at a fast enough pace, and we were running and running and running. And the last thing I got, I hate these things like with a passion. I like the concept storm elementals because it goes with this guy's whole theme, but I don't like the fact that they're this super bright fuchsia purpley color. They're super opaque. It's really hard to see through them. They're hovering about essentially where the center of your camera is, your eye level is with your character. So between that and Hurricane and Snowstorm, you can't see shit. A lightning storm, there's so many clouds, so much shit flying around, particle effects, you can't see anything. It's ridiculous. So I gotta watch out for that because it's not just gonna annoy me. I know my teammates are gonna be like, "What the hell? Shut this stuff off." But it's your kit, so you can't just shut it off. Otherwise, you're all dead. Well, anyway, there you go. That is the MIDS build for Scouring Sands. What I'm going to do now is go fire up a solo mission, just set to level 50, like times 8 or whatever, times 7, and just kind of run through this character a little bit, show you what he can do, tactics, strategy, that kind of stuff. So give me a second, I'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are back. Let's take a look at what's going on. We're here to get the plans from the council. I'm set to +0 times 7. Not trying to turn this into some big old slog mission. I just want to kind of showcase what Scouring Sands can do. And I really love the look of this guy, if you don't mind me saying so myself. The AI art I had generated just doesn't do it justice. I'm going to have to try to get some additional screenshots to work off of. But anyway, cool look. I like him. The Desert Demon, I call him. Sandstorms, blazing heat. That's kind of the concept behind him. Let's go ahead and summon his little imps. Also like the colors that you can get this combo as well. So let's go ahead and do this. All right, surprised nobody's here like in the first room here. I am gonna might do some non-sanctioned 801 stuff after this. But I need to get some practice on this guy. So I wanted to do this and then maybe get a little team going, F around a bit. That's what to say. Where's everybody? And again, hey guys, check out who it is that's come to play. It's our friends, the Galaxies. I don't even call them the freaking council anymore. It's all just freaking effing Galaxies. All right, so what do we want to do? So I threw smoke. Power boosted that. Should, I think, power boost effects to hit debuff. So I'm going to smoke these guys. And then I could put bonfire around the corner. That might be the best idea because none of these guys are wolves, I don't think. So let's do this. Let's drop Bonnie. Let's drop Freezing Rain after that. I should probably get these guys on a toggle. What do you call it? Not a toggle, but keybind is what I was trying to say. Look at that shit. I gotta really get used to how this guy plays. Do you open with your storms? Do you open with your controls? Kind of got options here. This guy's not aggressive. Let him go to town. Just throw out everything, right? That's the way I feel this whole is gonna go. These 801s just keep throwing shit. Until everything just stops moving. It's really hard to focus fire on any one thing. I didn't even see there's a second boss over there. I am with bosses on, but I set this times 7 because I figured the odds of getting 2 bosses in a group was going to be lower. No such luck. Alright, so, I mean, took some damage, which is what I'm expecting, because I don't have a lot of mitigation strategies. Let's do this. We're gonna keep dropping shit around the corner, because I think this is the safest bet. Throw that out there. Plug these guys. So my imps are taking damage. This is where I'd like to have O2 boost, just for that simple little reason. Yeah, I don't know. This guy's going to be a hell on wheels when I run these 801s, because he has like really poor defense. Freaking res, come on. Guys, don't fucking chase. Oh shit, they did it. They chased. Let's get this shit up closer. Throw some flame on his ass. Yeah, it's really just containing. Look at this, more fucking galaxies. Come on. Like, fuck these guys. I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. I'm tired of the council with all their galaxies. I don't mind the council. They got enough annoying things, but just all these galaxies is ridiculous. Throw a tornado in there, see what comes out. So I like this hot box, just to keep throwing shit in here. I could teleport in there. I do have translocate. My imps is getting wrecked in there. Let's throw frickin' Pyronic in there. Let's do a shit ton of damage. I thought I was gonna be able to kill faster, but don't aggro again, guys. You're killing me. I didn't take Spirit Ward, which could have been useful to keep my imps protected. Alright, one of my imps is down. I gotta figure out my my power combos I should be executing here. Just keep throwing shit in here. Let's start spamming Gale. I'm getting like double bosses every single time. And the good news is these guys really can't effectively mount any sort of attack on me because they're constantly flopping. I'm definitely going to need protection from my by my melees. Alright. Oh, shit, he just rezzed off my energy font. Come on. This is the problem with controllers, right? With at least controllers in the stupid console. Is you have no way to avoid being rezzed off because your pets are getting rezzed off of. I hate when you resummon, they switch back to defense. So they'll just stand around as a controller doing nothing because you got stuff held and whatever. So your pets don't react to anything in defense, but they just stand there. Speaking of pets, let me break out these guys. Storm Elementals, just so I kind of show you the problem here. First of all, they don't match my color scheme, right? Now look at this. This is what my screen is showing you. What the hell am I supposed to be able to see? This is ridiculous that they're so thick, and not THICC. You just can't see shit. It's ridiculous that they're like that. All right, looks like I got a noob trap set up here. Let's trigger it. I'm gonna throw a tornado right there. See if it starts messing with somebody in there, which it should. There's freaking ants coming out. Yeah. Oh shit, I got more engagement there. It's freaking bedlam, chaos. You can tell me you can see anything. This is what my video is gonna look like on these 801s. It's fucking ridiculous. This is stupid. I mean, I kind of like in the sense that it fits my theme that this guy is just blinding dust and sand and heat, you know, storm from the desert. But for gameplay, it's terrible. And there's nothing you could do about it. I don't think you could make it less thick, right? I haven't even turned on my hurricane yet. I guess I should do that. Kind of show that ability. I still have a lot of things I can do. It's just a matter of what is the optimal combo. That's why I want to do some more play testing with this guy. Because I said in the, I think in the matchup video, that this guy was created specifically for this testing, this purpose, this DEFCON. I haven't played him prior to this. So I was just like, hey, I want to do storm summoning because I have one for just messaging somebody who was talking about joining my little fun after this. Finishing up this solo work, and then I'll see about putting together a little team image to work on this controller's tactics more. Right, let's do this. Hurricane. Here's a great place for hurricane. Let's do this. Smoke them. Now I'm going to go ahead and just blow these guys back. Knock them back again. Kind of keep them pinned with hurricane. Drop a storm right here. Turn everything on aggressive. So I might got a lot of firepower with this guy. It's not a question. But you could just see how he's gonna take incoming, and he doesn't have a lot of survivability tools. Almost wishing I took Rebirth instead of Clarion. All right, do this again with Hurricane. Let me take a preemptive. All right, let's do this. Let's throw in the stun first. Get a lot of guys. Again, I can't see anything. These guys are pretty much screwed back here. Alright, that's it. Boom. This will be the last room here. So, he can do damage. He's going to take damage. It's just a matter of not too much damage. That should be fine. I'll throw a tornado in there just to kind of really mix it up. Poke this around the corner. Archon is a wolf. Stuff up top or something? Might have stuff up top. Just gotta move forward here, see what's going on. So what's happening? Try to finish off the boss here. I think there's definitely shit up top. My monkeys went up there and screwed around. This is going to be an issue with these 801s. Okay, do that. Try to keep them suppressed over here. I'm going to block this side with bonfire. Throw a freaking tornado over on that side. Just keep blasting. I'm just blindly attacking stuff. I don't know what's happening out there. Really wish I could build for some more range defense. Would be good. A lot of guys around me. All my imps are dead. It's a noticeable drop in DPS without them. I got the rear clear now. I think that was it. So click this thing and end this mission. Boom, there it is. All right. So, try to figure this out. Definitely got a lot of tools. Maybe too many tools. I really don't want to get into too spammy of a character because I felt that's what happened with Frisson Sensate, my empathy controller, Symphony Empathy. I had so many little, coney attacks that, which one do you use? What do you use? And that kind of feels similar here. I got so many tools here. I need to sort of lock in on sort of a 1, 2, 3 combo and then go with it and then sprinkle in the other stuff as needed or as warranted. So it'll be interesting. I'm gonna get some more practice on this guy. I think I'll get a little team going and just see what he can do, what he can't do, what he gets in trouble with, and what else. All right, so in the meantime, though, we'll catch you in the next video. I'm gonna do the build and solo for my Defender Sycorax. I think I'll do that next before I do any of the 801s, the actual team trials, but we'll see. All right. Catch you in the next one. Later.